and welcome to TSK F1. My name's Rich and today I'm going to talk about Aston Martin and why in years to come I think that they could be positioning themselves as a real force within Formula One. Now, I know, the general consensus is rich billionaire buys team just so his son can have a race seat in Formula One and treats it a bit like a toy. In the next few minutes, I'm going to explain a little bit about Lawrence Stroll as a person and also their new factory for Aston Martin and how it all ties in with how I think they really are going to make strides forward in the next 3, maybe 5 years. Please don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel. So Lawrence Stroll, who is he? How is he even a billionaire? And what's he all about? Well, he has owned or invested and rejuvenated in brands you may have heard of, including Ralph Lauren and Tommy Hilfiger, Pierre Cardin, and Michael Kors. They're just some of the brands that he's got involved with, rejuvenated them, taken them into Europe and different markets, and really made those brands see an upturn in sales and just become successful generally. I'm strongly of the opinion you don't get into a position in life like this guy by losing, by accepting being second place. And while, of course, on the outside, it looks like he just went and bought an F1 team so that his son could drive in Formula One, I think it's a lot deeper than that for Lawrence Stroll. I truly believe he wants it to be a success for him, for its own brand identity, for everything really, not just the fact that Lance is a driver for him. And really, when you're investing £200 million in a new factory, you've got to be looking to get some success out of it, haven't you? There are going to be 3 buildings at the new factory. The first one is going to be the main factory building. This will be the home of the race team, design, and where all major operations will take place. This should be completed around May 2023 with the team actually moving in to their new factory. Now, there are some details in this which I realise sound nerdy and nitpicky. But, for example, they've made sure that the windows face the right direction and all of the computer screens will face the right direction so that the minimising sun glare at the desks and all sorts of different little quality of life things for the staff to make sure that they have got as much productivity as possible. The new wind tunnel for Aston Martin will open in Q3 of 2024. And then sometime after that, another building will open where it's about employee experience and an event space. Now, I have heard Lawrence Stroll speak about this. I think this is where they're going to have things like daycare for the parents, like if staff are parents, that they can take the kids and they've got daycare, that they've got everything they require to be productive on site, be happy, and things like that. One massively interesting feature is this. It's a 160 metre long street along the centre of the main factory building. There aren't going to be labyrinths of corridors or anything like that. The idea is that every single department kind of splinters off this central promenade through the middle of the factory and that it goes in the workflow that you would design a car so that all departments that regularly need each other should be basically next to each other, and even if they're not, you can easily navigate around the factory and it should be easy to find who you need to speak to. This might sound really, really obvious, but luckily enough, I've been around the Alpine factory, and that has bits and bobs all over the place, and you're going through doors and all over the place, basically. It is kind of logical how that factory's set up, but it's still a little bit all over the place with parts outside, and it, you know, I think this really will help. And they've given a nod to the fact that you have to be very efficient under the new cost cap regulations. So even stuff as simple as going and speaking to a colleague, finding them quickly, having that dialogue quickly and effectively over a season could save a lot of time, therefore a lot of money. And it's just details like that. This entire factory and new setup has been built with the cost cap regulations in mind. And I just generally feel like it's impossible to ignore the fact that Aston Martin really are going to have a state-of-the-art facility. They've also recruited very well. They've got new staff, senior staff in from Red Bull, Alpine, and other Mercedes as well. So they're bringing in all the correct staff, they're bringing in all the correct expertise, as well as what will nearly, I should imagine, be grid leading facilities. Lawrence Stroll even did say that he is doing the opposite of what Ron Dennis did at the McLaren Technology Centre. This is function over form. That looks like some kind of spaceport. You may have actually seen it in Star Wars. He's going for the Aston Martin factory to be pure function, that everything should make sense, everything should be to make employees happy, productive, effective, efficient, and that they can really, really push on up the grid in this new facility. Now, it's my opinion that all of this might come a little bit too late for Fernando Alonso, but it will be interesting to see. It is actually also another point that a lot of staff that Aston Martin have brought in will be effective for the 2023 car. They might have been on gardening leave and things like this through the 2022 season, but they could have a massive say or indeed be in the entire design for the 2023 car. So again, don't be surprised if we see a push up the grid next season from Aston Martin. But I'd love your take on this, guys. Do you think that Aston Martin are going to push forward? Do you think this still is a plaything for a billionaire? What do you think is going to happen with the team? Do let me know down in the comments. And as always, I'll see you soon.